Is this man the world's longest-serving national team coach? He was first appointed as the Matildas coach in 1994 until 1997. He was reappointed in 2005 and remained there until 2012. And most recently, he was put back into the position in 2024 through until 2025. That's a combined 11 years in charge. And in between times, he's had roles coaching both domestic teams and national teams across New Zealand, Japan, Canada, and the USA. To put it simply, Tom Sermanni has seen it all. He's a knowledge bank of football. Over many years, he's had an incredible knack of spotting talent. How does he do it?
Funny, when you get asked that question about what do you look for, and you just tend to say good players. I think the distinction when you're looking at international level is trying to assess players that you think can be very good at a club level, but might just not have the qualities to step up to international level, and players that you think, well, they've got something about them that I think they can go on to international level. I find it really impossible to actually be really descriptive about what you're looking for, because it's different things in different players. So, if I look at most recently, there's some that just stand out, like you just think definite, and then there's some you slow burners that might take a little bit more time. But when I look, I really hadn't seen much of Callie Johnson, for example. I'd heard about her, saw a little bit of her in the W League, but not enough to make an assessment. But after the first training session in camp, which was a fairly light session, right away I just went, well, she will go in and play without any problem.
So what does he think is one of the biggest challenges to football success?
We are a little bit different. That could even be a geographical thing as well, with obviously at the other end of the world, and I think New Zealand's a little bit like that. And in some ways, when I was with Canada, it was a little bit like that as well. But I think it's also about how you actually want to set up your structure and your philosophy of your national team. And I think it's very important, particularly in a country like Australia, that you don't have a senior team and an under-23 and an under-20s, and there's got to be a connection between all of them for us to really get the best out of the players and the best out of the system. There's got to be real cohesion between the whole, from the under-17s all the way up. And the other thing is that for elite development, it's about producing individual players. The other thing that I think has hurt us a little bit is that over the last 10, 15 years, our coaching philosophy and system has been about creating systems and players to fit into systems. When you're, just my opinion, when you're developing elite players, it's all about individual players. It's not about creating a player for this position, that position.
Systems don't win Olympic titles and World Cups.
No, they don't. It's about
like
individual
suits.
players.
People are not turning up to look at suits.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
turning up to watch the players play the game.
Yeah, and that's why if I go back to a Callie Johnson, that's the kind of thing I saw in her, is that she's this individual that is able to contribute to the team.
And what's his coaching philosophy, which seems as relevant today as it was yesterday, or even last century?
From my perspective, I've always picked the player and worried about the system after. And then you look ahead, you look at trying to improve how your team play as you go along. So, but other coaches will be a little bit more specific and see types of players that they like and that fit in a particular system that they want to play. I mean, there's a great deal of crossover in that, obviously, but it's just those two generally different coaching philosophies that are out there.
Would you describe yourself as a people person coach, as in you deal with the individuals and mould them to become a team?
Yeah, very much so. The connection for me, the connection around the whole team, staff and players, has always been important for me as a coach, because I think that's how I operate better, and I think that's it gives players, I think, greater confidence to play for the team. Whereas you have coaches that come in and they've got a particular way of managing, and they stick to that structure, and people have to fit into it. It's just not in my personality to be like that.
What about managing the politics from head office with the need to get results on the pitch? Are there issues sometimes where you come in as a coach, you're promised everything, then head office goes, well, no, we've got some other priorities as well, so that's being diverted. You're not going to have exactly what you thought you were going to have, even though you made them promise that you would. Is that what happens?
Yeah, but that happens everywhere. I mean, we're not unique in that sense. Every federation, club, whatever organisation, you come up against maybe slightly different scenarios, but similar issues, similar problems. I think the good thing that we've been able to do in Australia is make the cloth fit as well as you can with what you've got. So I think, if I look at the Matildas are well resourced. There's staffing and programs and how the players are managed and looked after. It is good. It's up there. Maybe not with, the very, very top teams, but it's there and thereabouts. It's what we need to do. And sometimes we need to do it with less resources, and we need to do it in such a way that it's effective as stuff that's underneath that. The great thing I found about working some of it's about the philosophy of what the organisations are about, and the key thing is that if you're a football organisation, you've got to be about football, and then the centre is what can we do best to make our football better, and then work from there. It's when the priorities outside of that become more important that you have problems. So one of the great things I found working back when there wasn't a lot of resources, but working in the institute system, you tended to work with people that found ways to make things work.
Sorry, I'm just swallowing my tea back.
Chewing on a cup of tea. That's all right. That's why I took my tea bag out. When I was at the AIS with Ron Smith, is that we would drive the buses, the 22 seaters, that kind of stuff.
I can't see Tony Gustafson or Joe Montemurro doing that.
It doesn't quite happen. But that kind of philosophy of saying, okay, how can we make this work, and having football as the centre of your argument. So when I caused some stir the other week, I answered some questions about the A-League women's situation. It's I'm not in there saying the A-League's women should get what the men get or get that. It's about, right, how do we make this league better? What can we put together to make it more effective? And think of things from a football perspective, of football being at the core of what we do.
And overall, does he have a secret to success? Now, you've had experience, not just in Australia, but with the national team setups in Canada, in the USA, New Zealand. You've coached clubs in other countries as well. So you've got that all-round experience, which is, I guess, why successive administrations keep coming back to you when they need an answer. I mean, you're the Mr. Fix-It guy.
I don't know if I'm doing a very good job, or I'm just the last man standing. That's possibly what it is.
The full interview with Tom Sermanni can be found on the Sports Ambassador podcast for subscribers via my Patreon or Substack pages, or you can follow me here for more shorts.